It's a new week and we've got a new cut to focus on. Today we're going to be making a lamb ragu with tender lamb shoulder. We're going to start off with a heavy bottom pot, and to it I have added just a little bit of olive oil. We're going to heat this on medium-high heat until it gets a nice little shimmer to it. We're going to add in our mirepoix, which is the base of most French dishes, and this is just a simple combination of onion, celery, and carrot. I added a pinch of salt to the mixture, and then we're just going to let this cook down for roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Your vegetables can get a little bit of color on them, but what we're really looking for is for them to exude their water and to get nice and soft. You can see that I'm slightly pushing on a piece of carrot with my spatula here, and that's just to test if it's tender. And once it looks like so, and you see that the vegetables have gotten a touch of color, we're going to add in some minced up garlic and let that cook for roughly a minute. After a minute is up, we are going to add in a little bit of tomato paste, and then we're going to make sure that all of the vegetables are nicely coated in this and let this cook for just about a minute so that the tomato paste can caramelize a touch and add even more flavor to the ragu. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of brown bits that are stuck to the bottom of our pan, and so we're going to want to get those up because those contain a lot of flavor. We're going to need to deglaze our pan, and that means we're going to add something such as a vinegar or a sherry cooking wine, and in this case we're going to add red wine. Now, as we add this in, I'm going to use my spatula to just gently scrape the bottom of my pot and make sure that we get up all of those delicious bits. We're going to let about half of that wine cook off and let it thicken a bit, and then we're going to add in some tomato sauce, some beef broth, and then fresh herbs. Now you can add just about any fresh herbs that you'd like. In this case, I am adding in some basil and rosemary that is growing out in the garden. We're going to give this a stir to combine everything, and then we're going to let this simmer for about 45 minutes. We really want this to thicken up nicely before we add in our lamb. As we near the end of our cooking time for our sauce, I just have a pot of water that I've brought to a boil, and we're going to add in some pasta. A really good pasta for ragu is pappardelle, which is just a thick stripped pasta. And we're just going to cook this per the directions on the back of the package and make sure that we save about a cup of pasta water just in case we need it. Now this is our beautiful star of the show, our bone out lamb shoulder from Quarles Farm. Now we prepared this the same way that we prepared chuck roast in the first video of this series. And so all we did was just sprinkle it with a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And we made sure that we added in some beef stock as well to keep this hydrated. We let this cook low and slow for 7 hours, and as you can see, that time was perfect. This is shredding so easily, it is tender to taste, and all of that fat from before really just melted into the meat and made it even more flavorful. We're going to add some of the shredded lamb into our ragu and give it a good mix. We're going to let this cook for about 15 more minutes so that the lamb can come to temperature and that all of the flavors can marinate. Once that time is up, we're going to add in some heavy cream, and of course it wouldn't be a pasta dish without some shredded Parmesan. Mix this up, and then it is time to add in our pasta. Now, one thing that I like to do is instead of having to add in pasta water after, I just bring my pasta directly from my pot into the sauce, and so that way it does have a little bit of pasta water still on it, and all of the sauce is going to stick to it a lot better. Give it a good mix, and then it is time to plate this up. We're going to serve this up with a few twirls of our pasta, a little extra spoonful of our lamb ragu, and then a sprinkle of fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Be sure to visit the Quarles family at the Douglas Loop Farmers Market and Lexington Farmers Market this weekend. You gotta grab yourself a lamb shoulder now to make this delicious ragu.